Yo, we back at it. What's good, Tice? What's good?
What's good, Jay? What's good, man?
Oh, coolin', man. How was your week?
My week was great, bro. It was great. I was thinking about was getting back to all sides of the coin, man, and chopping it up with you.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, today's topic, people, it's titled Rebuilding Our Communities. This is a real good topic, man. I think so. Because everything that we've been through, man, in the black community, all tribes set their own communities up to be the way they want it to be, right? They work on it. They work on progress. They work on rebuilding. They work on. I think we're one of the only tribes that really don't work on rebuilding our community like that. So I think, it's 2025. Now's the time. What you think about that, Faye?
Now is the time. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Jay, and that's what we're gonna talk about: reinvesting and rebuilding the black communities, man, because it's time, especially in this 21st century.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But before we get into it, man, what's going on with AJ, bro? You know what I mean?
They say he got mental health issues, so I'm gonna take it as that. I know he got hurt and he had the hamstring, but if he has mental health issues, we need him. I hope he gets the help that's needed, right? So we can go on this championship run because we got a Super Bowl team and we could go back to back.
Yeah.
And it'd be a lot easier if we had him. And I
Right.
just hope and wish the brother well. And if it is mental health, just get right, seek therapy, and pray to God.
There we go. There we go. I definitely agree, man. Because I'm like, he's a great dude, man. He's one of the greatest wide receivers in the league right now. To me.
The top five. He's a top five wide receiver. Everybody on the team does love him. So that's why I'm hoping. You're not hoping to say that he has the mental health issues, but what I'm saying, if he does, just to seek help, man, pray on it and come forward because we need you to make this Super Bowl run.
Yeah, man. Because I want one more ring, Tice. What you? I want.
Oh yeah, I want the ring, man. I'm like Beyonce. Put a ring on it, but I got one. I want another one, and then I want another one, and I want to go back to back. And I ain't talking about Drake, okay?
You crazy, bro.
I want to be one of the few teams in the NFL. I think it was the Chiefs, us, Patriots. We would go down in history, Jay. They couldn't say anything to us. Nobody in the
That's
NFC
true.
East,
Very
nobody
true.
can say anything if we go back to back.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
now?
That's a fact. That is a fact. That's a fact. So, rebuilding our community. Let's get into it, man.
Okay, Jay. Well, in terms of building our community, this is near and dear to our heart, right?
Right.
Because we want our people, black people, African American people, to survive. Not to just survive, but to prosper. Because if we prosper, then America's that much better for all of us, right?
There you go.
So there's many strategies that black communities can use to build and strengthen themselves, including fostering economic growth. That's so big.
Yeah.
Supporting local institutions such as stores and things like that in your neighborhood, and advocating for policy changes. Yes, I know a lot of people don't like politics, but we're going to have to get into that realm to make the changes that are needed. Many of these efforts address the long-standing racial disparities and systemic issues that impact black communities.
Yeah, man, and that's heavy. It's so true. It's so true, man. And some of the barriers and causes and the whys are slavery, right? Lack of knowledge, lack of love. We don't love ourselves, and we have low self-esteem. Trauma. You know what I'm saying? And angry at the system, man. And these are real issues, man. So we got to tackle them one by one. So slavery is one of them things that people are like, just get over it. Just get over it, man. It's like, man, that's something that you just can't get over, man. Like, you know what I mean? That's years and years of just chaos and turmoil, man. So it's like, what do you think about when they tell us to get over slavery, man? Like,
That they shouldn't get over slavery, because if you haven't been through slavery, or if you haven't had ancestors to breathe through slavery, how can you tell another race to get over it? How can you tell people what's going on? And we can see the effects of slavery even today. So even though we have generations removed from it, and I'm talking towards African American or black people, what you like, whatever you like to be called now, that it still affects us till this day in terms of economic growth, empowerment, and doing the things we need to do to progress.
yeah, that's real. That's right. I agree 100% with you. And then the lack of knowledge. The lack of knowledge is that we don't know. We don't know where we come from. We don't really know our true names. We don't know our true ancestry. We don't really know a lot. Now we got ancestry.com, but I don't know how accurate that is, to be honest with you. I've heard people, check it out, but we don't know, right? Then we got lack of love. We don't love ourselves, and we got low self-esteem. And I believe that shows up in the black neighborhoods every single day, where we just killing each other, hating each other, man. Somebody walk down the street, we staring over at them like they're a threat. And that's been going on for years, bro. And my thing is, how do we, get past that? I think it's lack of knowledge.
Yeah, it is lack of knowledge, and what I like to, I think that's the main thing. And the other thing, what I like to stress is the lack of the family structure, right? Moms and dads, tell your children that you love them, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what's happened in the past, things are affecting you. Those are your offspring, and you want your children to do better than you. You want the next generation to do better than the next generation. So please, let's work together, whatever thoughts and stuff you got together, but always tell your kids that you love them and that's a place for them. If it's not mom or dad, aunt, uncles, aunties, nieces, grandmoms, tell whoever is raising our children that they are loved and that they're here on this earth for a purpose.
Boom. I like that. Then we got traumatized. That's the next one. A lot of trauma that has happened with people, which black people, we have a lot of trauma. We do. And I think that's therapy. We need therapy. We need counseling. We need a lot of things. And listen, people, therapy and counseling don't mean you're crazy, okay? Let's kill that stereotype, man. It just means you need to speak to someone to get all that pain that's inside of you out. That's what it means, okay? Stop with this, oh, man, I don't want to talk about that. Because where does those feelings go? They're still there. You're just burying them. They call it suppression, right? You're suppressing them. That's all you're doing. So you're going to need to get therapy, get counseling, and I think that can help to turn a lot of trauma around. You know what I'm saying, Jay?
I totally agree, Jay. I'm all with you about just echoing what you're going on. Please, if anybody's out there, if you need help, seek it. There's such a stigma in the black community about mental health. If you are not right mentally, if you're not happy inside, then how can you make anybody else happy? How can you make your family happy? How can you be the best you can be? And another thing is, if you're 18 years old or older, it's time. Even if it's affecting you, it's time to seek help because now you're 18, you're becoming an adult. Look for different places. Look for outlets. Look for help because now you're going to have children one day and you got to come up in this world and you have to feel as though you're right. So seek it out. And what I wanted to add, Jay, even if you're not, okay, mental health is like me, go to the church. Look for pastors.
That's right.
Because they can help you too. So anybody that's about helping you to get right, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It just, we all need a little help and it's seeking that and to live a better life.
There you go. And the last one is angry at the system. We are angry at the system. We have a right to be. You know what I mean? Because if you're behind the 8 ball, right? And then you look at the books and you've seen the movies and you see the history, it's like just because of a skin color, the system done everything to us. And, I was also checking out John Hope Bryant where he said they're spending billions and billions of dollars to block us from, being a part of, trying to get into this, get ahead in America. And it's like, what's that about, man? Like, why? For what? All because of skin color again still? So people are angry at the system, you know what I'm saying? And they have a right to be until the system says, listen, we apologize, we sorry, let's do some type of reparations, let's try to fix this, let's try to stop, setting up barriers. And, we're not even asking for their help, to be honest with you, because they gave like Jay-Z said, they gave us scraps and we made soul food, right? We always find a way. We're great people, man. Black people are great. We're great. You can't stop us. We're going to get ahead one way or another. But what we're saying is you got to take down those barriers that you guys are setting up, for us to fail. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to support us, That's cool. You know what I mean? But if you don't want to, that's cool. But just don't try to stop us. Don't put barriers up that hurt us. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's how I feel, man. You know what I mean? What you think, Zach?
I feel the same way. You can't not deny what's happening. That's not what we're talking about. You're talking about from slavery to the Reconstruction era to Jim Crow to even now the policies that are affecting people. But now is the time in the 21st century to take that anger and for us to come together as a whole. Because there's things that we can do from an economic perspective or just us putting our thoughts together and changing our mindset and our discipline instead of being angry at the system that is so, for so long has held us back, right? Now it's time to put our resources and thoughts together, right? Together That means a little mindset, a changed mindset and discipline, and moving forward so that we can go forward.
Yeah, I love that, man. When you think about it, because just now I was basically going in on how why they angry, and I like the way you put that. Like, just because we are angry, we should just be using that anger. It's like reverse engineering it, right? So that we can create something positive out of the being angry. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Use your turn that anger into something that's positive. You know what I mean? Like positive options and outlets. I like that. That's dope.
And especially in this information age, there's so much stuff out there, information that you can read to better yourself and that we can make a change. It's just time to do it.
Okay. And the things that we can do is economic and business development. You know what I'm saying? I really believe in that. Support black owned businesses. A common and highly effective strategy is to buy black by spending and investing money in businesses within the community. This can build local wealth, create jobs, and foster economic independence. That's big, Tice, because they say what the black dollar only circulates, it doesn't circulate one time, or it does circulate one time. I forget what they were saying.
You're
around,
right.
around the neighborhood one time, and then it leaves our neighborhood and it goes outside of our neighborhood. And it's like we got to keep the black dollar in our neighborhoods. You know what I mean? That means we have to support one another. We have to go to black businesses and help each other. We got to give jobs to our people. You know what I mean? And this is, again, for those who are just tuning in or whatever, you have to understand, we're not trying to separate nothing, but every tribe has its own issues, right? Whether it's black, white, whatever. And we've noticed over the years that every tribe, when they come together, whether it's, whatever kind of people it is, when they come together, they focus on their tribe and their tribe only. And then they work outside the community after they fix their issues. That's what I'm talking about doing. We're going to fix ours, and then we'll reach outside to try to help others. You know what I'm saying? And we're hoping that all of our efforts will spread around the world. Like what we're doing, people would look at it and go, you know what? We're going to, like they did with the civil rights movement.
Yes.
Everybody that's trying to get their rights right now,
Yes.
guess what they did? They looked at the civil rights movement and said, we're gonna use this as a catalyst to create our movement and get our rights. So we're hoping our actions and everything that we're doing in the black community will have y'all saying, you know what? We're going to take a page out of that book and execute it all around the world. That's why we're trying to do what we're doing here, talking about rebuilding our community. Because if you can see us rebuild, then you can rebuild. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's important. So the next one, Tice, is positive cure for a lot of things is family counseling. Tice, you've been in that field, man. Break that down, man.
Yes. So family counseling. First, let me say this. So family counseling is great for every family, especially in America, right? Because in my opinion and belief and looking at working in that field and just looking at what goes on in the daily news, in America, the family structure is under attack. Just the way we live in our society, in my opinion, it's under attack. So family counseling is definitely needed. Jay talked about trauma, which I feel as though people a lot have, and it's never been addressed. And that goes on, and that manifests to then when you get older, you spread that to your kids. That happens, you don't know how to deal with your emotions. You don't know how to deal with past things that happen. You don't know how to deal with your partner, right? And that could go down into your kids as well. So family counseling and or working with the pastor of the church is definitely needed to rebuild the family structure. Because if you have a strong family, and that'll make a better community makes it better for us to go out as a whole and to live to the potential that we have.
That's real. That's real. And for those who don't know what family counseling, also known as family therapy, is a form of psychotherapy that involves multiple family members working together to address issues and improve relationships. Okay, so the purpose family counseling aims to improve communication and resolve conflicts, strengthen family bonds and foster healthy dynamics, enhance coping mechanisms and deal with stressful situations, address mental health issues that may be affecting the family unit. So it benefits everyone involved in the family. I got a issue with America closing a lot of mental facilities and not addressing mental health anymore. You know what I mean? It's like they just let the people out and they're not, medicating them no more. They're not seeing them and taking them through any, nothing. They're just saying, we're closing the buildings, it's over. when you do that, you put everybody else at risk. Number one, and those people could hurt themselves. When when someone has an episode, the cops come and the cops don't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? And the first thing the cops want to do is protect themselves, so they want to kill a person. But it's like, no, he's just off his meds. He needs help. And I believe if we keep turning our back on, the American people that need, help with mental illness, this thing's going to it's going to get out of hand, Tice. It's already out of hand.
It is. It is. And America's never kept up to its promise. Give us your weak. Give us your poor. Right? We will protect them. We will take them in. And over the years, they just constantly taking more and more money away from helping mental health.
Yes.
Right here in Harrisburg, the state hospital, they've closed it down at least, I think, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
man.
what happens then?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the homeless, a lot of the things you see has come because of the lack of mental health services. So you have people self-regulating, going out. They say a lot of the homeless have mental health issues. But if there's nothing there and a system in place to help them, there's nothing there to help them.
Exactly.
Then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
What can they do?
Yeah.
But then they said, well, we have a homeless issue. I think a lot of it tied that we have a mental health issue and economics. But when you take that away and you're not helping that, and there's still that stigma, that mental health, you're crazy. No, it doesn't mean you're crazy. There's things that can be beyond our control, and everyone needs to have a mental health and great stability.
I agree, man. So let's keep adding on to this, the things that we can do to actually rebuild our, because this is what it's about, rebuilding the community, right? So
yes,
another one is create collective ownership models. You know what I mean? So create collective ownership models. Mechanisms like collective ownership can help protect communities from predatory real estate practices and allow residents to benefit from their land. That's big, Tice.
that's huge, Jay. Have you? So everybody, I'm gonna give it to you an example. You ever had a job and you did it by yourself and it took you a long time? So imagine if you had someone else helping you in that job. How quickly will you get done, and how much more better will it be if you had other people? That's the same mindset we have to have when we're talking about collective ownership needs. And many communities all across America, right, especially black and brown communities, there's the gentrification going on where people are coming in, but buying up places in our communities that we have, right? So you might have had grandmom or grandpop who sold it, right, or passed it down to the next generation. They're like, you know what? I don't want to upkeep this house. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to sell it. No, land is the most important thing you got in America. Keep that. Rehab it. Get with your community. You all say you put $50 or $100 in a month, right? You generate that. Then you can buy more properties. You can fix up the properties. And now you got a say in the community and in the city you live in as a collective. And if you're trying to do it once alone, or if you're just a lone wolf, it's not going to work.
That's right. That's right. I agree with you, man. And that's why I say now's the time for us to come together. Like John Hope is, man, we're echoing what he's been saying for a while, man. He's
Yes,
saying,
we are.
We got to come together as a collective. Now is the time. Like we have so much power. You know what I mean? Not that we want to dominate or we want to take over anything, because we don't want to make any we don't want to. They're already insecure, and they think that we want to take over something. Like whenever we talk about putting black people, bringing black people together, and building back our communities. Oh, what are they trying to do? Exactly what I'm saying. Just rebuild our communities, and we want kids to stop dying in the streets. We want to give kids positive options. We want economic power. You know what I mean? So that we can just live. That's all it is. It's really simple, but they make it like it's some kind of, oh God, they're about to do something crazy. And it's like, nah, man, we just want to live the same way y'all live, right? Same way you put your kids through college, the same way you can walk through your neighborhoods without being killed and shot and all that. That's what we want. Okay, the next one is increased home ownership. Discriminatory housing practices have created a significant home ownership gap. Policy solutions like down payment assistance, accessible credit, and investment in affordable housing can increase black home ownership. This is big, Tice. You're a homeowner, right? So you know
Yes, I am.
how big this is. And it's a lot of programs, right, that people can tap into to be able to become a homeowner, right?
Yes.
And what's some of them?
So there's a lot of programs, a lot of nonprofit programs, no matter where you're at. wherever you're in the city, wherever in your suburbs, that you can tap into. So if you don't know how to go about to buy a home, they're there for free to give you the steps to go into it.
And we got the internet, y'all, so don't
Oh,
forget.
of course. And then we have the internet, and those things are free, and that's free right at your thing. So first you have to change your mindset, because I see things on social media, I read things online, I've had conversations with families and friends. They say, well, renting's better than home ownership. No, it's not. I'm going to say it again. Renting's better than home ownership. No, it's not. You may have not been exposed to, or you think, since I've never seen it, I think it's so hard to buy and to buy and to own a home. You got to change your mindset and have some discipline, right? But once you do that, to have that, you can get equity out of the house once you own a house, right? You can get a home line of credit out of that. It is one of the ways that you get ahead in the 21st century, and always one of the ways you get ahead in America, by owning. Because when you're renting, you're just renting that money and it's gone.
Yeah.
When you're buying a mortgage and doing that, that money stacks and it can build, and you could take money out of it. Because then if your house, just say for example, Jay, if your house was worth $50,000 and after a couple years you made those mortgage payments, and they come and they reassess and say your house is $120,000,
Right.
you take $120,000 minus what you bought for the house, right? $50,000. That's $70,000 worth of money that you can tap into.
Wow, so you got equity. So
You got equity,
Right.
or you could take a line of credit. You can't do that if you rent. And that's going to help you and your family get ahead. Home ownership is huge.
Y'all heard that, right? Home ownership is very huge. Yeah, so that's good, Tice. That's good what you was just saying. But let's get into the next one, man. Creating positive programs for the youth. Tice, you want to read that one?
Yes, I do, Jay. So creating positive programs for the youth, also known as positive youth development, is a framework for design programs that build on young people's strengths to help them succeed in life. It focuses on creating supportive environments with positive relationships and opportunities for growth, skill building, and meaningful community involvement. This approach views youth as assets to be developed and problems to be fixed. So when we talk about that, we all know it takes a village to raise a child, or it takes a family to raise a child, right?
Hello.
And there's many programs that are out there already that people need to tap into when they're talking about their youth. Because if you have to work and your daughter or child is home by themselves, more or less likely, if they get with the wrong crowd, you don't know what they're into and what they're about. So you should fill their day up, whether it's sports, academic, chess club, swimming. You find something that they like and you get them into it, and they will get around other like-minded kids such as themselves, and that would help out the neighborhoods tremendously. So I don't care when you're out, they need to be into some type of program, some type of activity, some type of sport. There's many nonprofits out there in each community. We just have to search and look for them. But no, they just can't be home babysitting themselves, in my opinion, Jay, and letting the video games dictate that.
I agree, and that's why we have our program that we're currently a nonprofit called the York Empowerment Center, and we also have the Harrisburg Empowerment Center that it'll be up and running shortly. Where we're gonna be bringing the kids, the youth in, and giving them positive options. Whether it's gonna be music, it's gonna be teaching them to have a trade, computer, programming and education and things of that nature. So we'll be, we'll have video games, things in there, and as well we'll have video people coming in who actually program video games and who can teach the kids how to start making money. Because it's a lucrative business. The video game business is lucrative. My son's heavy into it, so so we'll be having that as well. So the kids definitely need positive programs, man. Because if you don't have positive programs, then you're going to have negative actions in our neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Say it again, Jay.
If you don't have positive programs in our neighborhood, you're going to have negative actions in our neighborhood. You know what I mean? So we need to have some positive programs. Also, this is to the black man. We gotta help our sisters raise these children. Please, let me tell you something, man. If you already been failing as a father, it's okay to turn that thing around, bro. It's okay to turn it around, bro. Like, if all it takes is, I want to do better. That's it. People don't even understand that's how it works. It's a switch that goes on. I want to help raise my kid. Let me call her. I know we ain't talked in 3 years. I can change it today, though. That's it. That's all it takes. It's a switch. So we got to get back to that. And again, for everybody that's out there, man, that has a little bit of money or paper, reach out to me and Tyson because we're trying to start programs for the youth. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you from, man, we always down to collab because again, this is about rebuilding our community, right? So we gotta link up, build together, bring our ideas together, and let's put our little chips together and our ideas together and see what we can do because the youth need some programs. You know what I mean? So that they can get off the streets and. Because, man, when you look at the statistics and the data, it's crazy, Tice.
Yes, it is. It's really crazy. And that's why, as you said, with the York Empowerment Center, the Harrisburg Empowerment Center, if everyone tries to do their part, we can change this thing around. It took a lot to get where it is now, but if everybody starts and does their part,
yes,
little by little, we can make those changes. And to me, it's non-negotiable. Your daughter or son needs to be in not any of these nonprofits, any of the programs, any of the sports, anything I've done or that I spoke to earlier, and it's just needed.
Yeah, definitely. The next one, Tice, invest in local economics. Black Americans can invest in local economies, particularly in areas with lower asset values to build influence and wealth. You want to elaborate on that, Tice, right there?
Yes. So you have the power where you live at to control where you live at and to help your economics get bigger. According to what John Hope Bryant said, and Jay, what our research say, African Americans, $8 trillion, we're the eighth. If we were a nation in America, we're the eighth largest when it comes to spending per capita.
That's so true.
So what's that mean? That means we are consumers and we spend a lot.
Right.
What if you took half that money and you got with a group of people you grew up with in your neighborhood and you started a little local investment firm and you all contributed money towards that firm?
That's right.
And then you looked and you found one property in your neighborhood and you renovated it and you made it a grocery store.
That's right.
You did that again and you kept building that money then. Then you made a bakery, right? You did that money again and then you did that. Then you had a dry cleaners, right? Now you're creating value in your neighborhood. So instead of spending all that money, right, to be a consumer, now you're an owner, you're an entrepreneur. Now you're making effect. Now you're making changes. Now you can employ people. Now they can see that if he can do it and he or she looks like me, I can do it too.
There you go.
And that's what they mean by investing in local economies, right? Let's start that way. That is a simple step going forward. And if not, there's so many people to help you. We're in the information age, Jay. The internet is here.
Yes, we are.
The internet is here.
We got
You
AI
can Google
too.
it, right? You go in wherever you're at, Google it, local chapters, local cities.
Yes,
there
sir.
are people here to help you. So no more excuses.
None.
It's time to look for within, and all it takes is a little change.
That's it. And a little bit of studying, researching, getting on internet. You're on your phones all day, so you might as well just be like, let me look into this and invest in local, economies. That's all. You just look that up. Put it. Get your phone out and put it. Invest in local economies. Find out what the definition is. Find out what programs are available, and then at that, go execute at a high level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, just reach out to various like-minded individuals, and you'll get there. The next one, Tice, start a black-owned bank. Ooh. Establishing local banks owned by black community members can help ensure that loans are approved for entrepreneurs and aspiring homeowners. This is so important because a lot of throughout history, blacks was denied loans, even if their credit was right, because of so many things that were going on, racism, the biggest one, and they wanted to create a banking system for their people so they can loan their people money. I know there's been some out there, you know what I mean? I don't know too many. Do you know a few, Tice?
There are a few. I know the closest one to us, because we're in Pennsylvania, there is a bank in Philadelphia that's a black-owned bank. I know there's one in New York City.
Okay.
So there's maybe 100 in America, a little less, maybe.
Okay.
But it's not compared to, there's 65 million people in America. So compared to everything else and every other race, we don't have a lot. But there is some there. So you would have to Google it and search it. But I know the closest one to us is in Philly, right? If you're looking for that, because then they may not look at your credit score and just see you have the will, you have the 1-2, you have the cash, right? And they can help you repair your credit and be more to helping you get, if it's a business loan or grants and credits to start your own business.
Okay.
Start your own business coming from a black-owned bank.
Now, here's what I'm saying though. Black community members, do the black community members own like that from that black community, or are they from the outside of the community that run these banks?
They're from that community.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they're from that community because they want to help those where they come from, their community, prosper and get ahead.
All right, the next one, community and institutional empowerment.
Yeah, so community and institutional empowerment, the first thing is strengthen local institutions. When we talk about strengthening local institutions, they're talking about historically black churches, community organizations, nonprofits that have served as the central hub for economic, social, and intellectual life. Reclaiming and strengthening these institutions can provide a strong foundation for community building. So when they're saying historically from the past, from reconstructions into the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, the black church was usually at the main point of helping the community maintain and to strive. So since they had such a pull, they would work with local banks. They would work with nonprofit organizations. If you had issues in your family, you can go to the church.
Okay.
So they were a main hub in terms of helping the African American community thrive and to go forward in America.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. So, yeah, so we have basically the black communities had everything they needed at the time, and they just needed to tap in. And if they went and tapped into each, but they were supportive and they promoted it. They said, "Come on in."
Yes.
They knew they was a village, and that was our tribe, and it was like, okay, these programs and these things are here for our tribe. Come on, come one, come all, and let's build.
And think about it. Guess that Martin Luther King came from a historically black church. His father was that, and he learned from his father, and he took those teachings to help us, the civil rights movement, to get our total freedom. So that's where it started from.
That's real.
And then, if you go to Atlanta, he has a church there, and it's historic, and the building's there. So it's always started from there because you want to help people, right? God wanted to help people, right? The church is an extension of that.
That's real.
And they wanted to help people and the community to move forward.
Yeah, because you got Aretha Franklin's father, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Then you got Sam Cooke's father. Like,
yes.
Yo, so you're right, man. The black churches it was big back then, man. Like, they said they would be jam-packed, man, in black churches.
Yeah.
And they would support, the community. So that's big. That's big. All right, the next one is foster black media. Supporting black-owned media outlets help to build community identity and ensures that local stories and interests are represented. I think this is very important because, again, if we can, someone always controlled our narrative. Someone always was reporting about our history, our story and what happened, and they would just like switch the whole narrative, switch the whole story. It's like, whoa, that's not how it happened. And I think it's important for us to foster black media because, that way we can and promote all of the programs that are available too, because they don't do that neither as well. So I think this is important, Tice. You know what I'm saying?
It's very important, Jay, because as you said, if you're not representative in those newsrooms, then you leave it up to interpretation of what they want to view you as, how they want to report who you are and what you are. Yeah. And there's so many positive stories that could be reinforced and shared instead of the negativity you see on the local news. There's a lot of other positive things going on with African Americans in the USA. So having that media, being able to speak to that and letting you know and become aware is very huge. And not only just in America, but how we're viewed across the world.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And we got podcasts, like that's why All Sides of the Coin we're here. Because we're gonna, we got information, we're gonna share it with our people, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna tell our story. You know what I'm saying? Any information that comes out, and they trying to twist it, it's like, nah, we ain't it ain't going down, champ. Not over here, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna make sure that we report the story correctly. And we're not bashing nobody neither on the show. You know what I mean? We're not one of them podcasts that have everybody worrying about who's broke, who ain't got no money, and all this chaos that we do on these podcasts is, you know what I mean? And we making all these other people money, You know what I mean? Which is their narrative. That's the narrative they want to push. That we can't get along. You know what I'm saying? That we gotta be at each other's throat on these podcasts. No shut at no podcasts out there. I'm just telling y'all that we're not doing that here on all sides of the coin. So yeah, so let's move on to the next one, Tice. What we got for the next one?
Emphasize education and skill building. Um, Having access to HBCUs, for those who don't know that, historically black colleges and universities, and promoting vocational, which is trade, and entrepreneurship skills, which is owning your own business, among young people. That's very critical in the 21st century. High-performing charter schools in some areas have also been shown to help with academic success. So, as we talked about before with college and trade, I feel as though this falls in terms of it. So in the 21st century, you got trades, right? You have you can start your own business on an entrepreneur level, or you have college. It's important, no matter what you choose, that it is of skill and of need in the 21st century. It is of skill and it is of need in the 21st century. So if you're going to start your own business, right, have it to where it's needed and it's something to create value and collect economic return for you. If it's the trades, even with the advent of artificial intelligence coming, you will always have that job with the trades, and you can make a great upper middle class. If you own your own business going into entrepreneurship, you can have a great job, right? And if you do go to college, because I was a college graduate, right? Pick a degree that is needed in the 21st century.
Yes.
Pick something that you can get out and make a lot of money towards, right?
Yes.
Pick something that won't get you into a lot of debt because you're going to have to pay back those school loans. So what is needed, right? We've talked about it, the engineering, the management, the technology, the science, those are the big ones, right? But look at that. Don't pick a major that you're comfortable with, but it can't make you money. Can't afford to in the 21st century. You need something, a skill that people have they're going to pay you a high value for.
The next one we got engage in participatory planning. Community members can play a direct role in planning decisions to address local needs and guide the use of resources. This is so important. I've always believed in planning. You know what I mean? My thing is, pray, plan, execute. You know what I mean? I live by that. I live by that. So planning is so important, and it's something that the black community, we don't really plan a lot of things out. You know what I mean? We can plan a party. We can plan to go buy the Jordans. You know what I'm saying? We can plan a picnic. You know what I'm saying? Or or some type of parade or whatever. But when it comes to planning for success and survival and economic power, and we don't we don't plan, man. So I think that's important. And I think we need to engage in that, and we need to invite it, and we need to make it so that people can come and bring, because no idea is dumb. Just bring it to the table. You know what I mean?
Just what Jay said, bring it to the table. Start with local family members. Start with people in your community, your neighbors you know in years, and be like, what can we do if we put our resources and our money together? What are some things that can make our life easier? Maybe we can retire earlier. That we can have some ownership stake, right? And change our lives and take control of our lives and make it better for the whole community. Just a thought. Just give it a try, and you'll be surprised what happened, because it's happening. People are doing it.
Yes,
Even
they
if
are.
you don't see it in your community, it's happening. Well, Tyson, how do I know that? Well, do your research. The phone is in your hand. You can Google things. You can talk to local people. You can find people and research them out on the internet. You can go to local organizations and find out, right, what's going on and how can I get about doing it. But the time is now.
Yes, sir. And the next one we got is utilize social and cultural heritage. Preserving cultural and historical sites can strengthen community identity and drive economic development through cultural tourism. For example, the Reconnect Rondo project aims to rebuild a historic African American culture district torn apart by freeway construction. These are important, Tice. This stuff is important. You know what I mean? It's so important because it makes us feel like we belong. It just makes you proud to see something that came from our people. You know what I mean? So I just think it's a very important thing. You know what I mean?
And can I add something, Jay? So I know, and maybe you can speak on it in Harrisburg. So in York, they have the William Goodrich Center, and William Goodrich was black, and he helped with the Underground Railroad in New York, but also he was a great businessman in the York community as well. So they took the house that he was into and they made it a historical land site. I didn't ever know this all my life. And when I found out, and I was like, wow, that's inspiring. And now you're letting the next generation below us and even kids now who are coming up, they're finding out way back in the early 1900s, the 1800s, this man was a part of helping free the slaves. This man then became a great philanthropist, right? And a great businessman, right? Then also we have the Crispus Attucks Center,
Yes,
which
sir.
is named after, if people don't know who Crispus Attucks is, he was the first black man to be killed in the American Revolutionary War to gain our freedom, right? So even then, he he's put his life on the line because he believed in having freedom for us. So I'm sure there's other things here in Harrisburg as well. But it's
Tons.
important to know that where you come from, there's a long line. So what you was born into now, it's not like you just arrived there, came there. There's so much more. And then once you learn it, I think it'll inspire people and make people feel, well, man, I got a long line that I never knew about that did it in terms of just, strong figures, and I can do it too.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The next ones are leveraging political power, demand systemic reform, seek local reparations, advocate for national policy changes. So, leveraging political power, voting and contacting elected officials and supporting candidates who prioritize issues affecting black communities are effective strategies for advancing equality. Creating a grassroots movement is often more effective than relying on standard top down political tactics. I think this is very important, man. A lot of people hate voting, right? And I get it, but you know what? If we can get super PACs in DC, if we can start movements, you know what I mean, in our own communities, then it works. Because I know nobody trusts anybody because we don't have anybody that's directly connected to us that's going to represent us in DC a lot of times. And that's, again, why we have to build a super PAC and we have to build these groups that will go and say, okay, we done organized in the black community. Now we're going to leave and we're going to go to DC and we're going to really represent what we are a part of. You know what I mean? Which is going to bring Tice. It's just going to demand systematic reform, and it's going to seek local reparations. It's going to advocate for national policy changes. That all falls under the leveraging political power, people, and economic power. So it's so important. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree, Jay. And I just wanted to give him a quick example of what you're talking about. So as I believe it was in Springfield, Illinois, there was an African American community. They got together. They went to city council, right? And because they were together with city council and they convinced city council to give local reparations to their descendants from years ago. So now the people that are now from their descendants, since they were discriminated hundreds of years ago, they're getting local reparations. Now, they didn't do it on a national level, Jay. They did it on a local level.
Wow.
So
Wow.
organizing and mobilizing on a community level is the biggest thing you can do because then you can affect what is right there around you. With that, you gain power. With that, you change it to having a better lifestyle or better things for your community and your city. Then if you get with other like-minded people, as you said, Jay, now you go forward and you get it on a policy level. You get it on a national level, right? You vote for those who have your interests in mind, and especially in these days and times, that's so important to do it. It's not very hard. It's just, do you want it? Do you want to change your life?
That's it. There it is. You know what I mean? Same way we go after everything else, like Jordans and everything else, and we go hard. We got to go hard at leveraging political power, man. You know what I mean? And because every other tribe is doing it, it's time for our tribe to do it as well. You know what I mean? So, in conclusion, you know what I'm saying? This thing is about unity and trust. Authentic conversations about the realities of racism and discrimination are essential for reestablishing trust within the community and with external partners. So we gotta trust each other, y'all. We gotta come together. We gotta bring unity. People, I know somebody out there that's looking at this podcast going, "Man, get out of here, man. Get out of here." That I have a dream speech like Dr. King. No, it's real though. And because he came up with that "I have a dream" speech, we are able to do things that we were not able to do, what, 50, 60 years ago, right? Let's be honest, right?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, I remember you told me when, Barack Obama was elected, how your mom was like, "I never thought in a million years."
She said, I never thought in a million years they would elect a black man in America. She said there might be some hope.
That's what I'm trying to say. So, you know, believe in the dream. Believe in what Dr. King said. So unity and trust is important. And I'm not saying that we're all going to be sitting around the fireplace singing "Kumbaya." I know we're not going to do that, but we could start pulling small percentages. What we make up, 13, 14%, Tice?
Yeah, 14% of the U.S. population.
Right. So if we can just get 6 or 7% to come together and like really get it, then we can start to do what we need to do and execute at a higher level. We can start addressing the violence in our neighborhoods. We start, and we also have to be aware of destabilization, because whenever we try to grow in America and we try to come together, Tice, you know how many things came up against black people every time we try to.
I do a lot, from the Tulsa riots, to after Reconstruction, and they helped win the Civil War. That they promised us the 40 acres and a mule, but they didn't give it to that for land. I just seen something the other day that a group, it was in Illinois. They started their own aircraft, all African Americans, because they were shut out, and they built it, and they had their own pilots, and they were training. But the community around them got jealous, so they tore it down. They took their funding away, and they tore it down. So every time there is that, then there is a backlash, right? But please, never stop. Always keep going, especially in the 21st century, because you have a lot more momentum and stuff to go forward. There is a destabilization. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But you have to keep going forward, and it's easier to do it the better with the collective, because now we have more resources, more money. We just got to collect together, right? Entertainment, we got it down, but now it's time to educate. It's time for us to have that economic power, right? And with that, we become stronger. America could become stronger, and we get the things that we truly need to succeed and grow.
That's it. That's it. 100%, man. 100%, and it's going to make our community better. Because again, this is about rebuilding our communities in this time. Everything that we spoke about on this podcast, man, today, like is vital. It's so important. I'm telling you, it's very important. So pay attention to this, people. You know what I mean? It's time for us to come together. You know what I mean? Real talk, and get it together. John Hope Bryant is really out there. I see him, man. He's pounding the pavement, man.
He's leading the forefront for the economic, what we need in terms of financial literacy and economics. And now is the time.
Now's the time, man. Now's the time. So, yo, make sure you like, subscribe, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you leave your comments, whether it's good, bad, ugly, whatever. You know what I mean? We like it all because we can learn from everything. You know what I'm saying? People think you can only learn from positivity, but a lot of times you can learn from negative things and stuff like that, and from people's different views. So, but like, subscribe, share, you know what I'm saying, and leave the comments. And we'll see you next time on All Sides of the Coin. Peace.